Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ladies with Tradies, working the trade, living the life. I'm very excited to have a dear friend, mentor, colleague with us today, Jake Harris. So Jake is, I feel like saying Jake's a business coach is very much minimalizing his like what he is and who he is and what he does. But Jake and I have known each other for a very long time. We were in the same footy club once upon a time in Skipton in regional Victoria. And we reconnected during COVID because, that was an isolating time. And it was like, hey, I'm doing a thing. And hey, you're doing a thing. So from there, we go on the most interesting, like, journeys of conversation. Jake is a really great person to hold the mirror up to you, and but also deeply understand uh, what mechanisms make or drive the decision making that we decide to execute on. So he's been such a brilliant person in my world, and I just wanted to share him with all of you. And he's had added a new role in the last few years to his many uh, many strung bows, and he is a dad. And we've talked a bit about this because our once he became a dad, our conversations shifted to that and the many interesting philosophies that he's learnt for himself in basically taking on, I'd say, Jake, one of the most challenging roles that you've ever had. So,
So
welcome,
far.
mate. Thanks for coming.
Thanks. This is a long time coming. I think you've absolutely nailed me there. That's good.
Oh, well, very fond of you, man. So, and like I said, keen to share you with our listeners. So tell us a bit about you, man. Like tell us where you're from, the work that you've been doing. Give us a bit of the backstory.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I suppose, like you were saying, it's changed a little bit recently, and historically it would have been introduced as who I am and the business owner stuff, but a lot of it now is actually anchored in the parenting. So identity, I think, is always an interesting one. So I quite often find myself introducing as, yeah, I'm a dad, I'm a business owner, which is one you get used to throughout, and then so that's a lot of my focus at the moment. I've got my partner Hannah, two girls, Matilda and Sophia, 4 and 1 now. So
Mm.
a lot of times spent there. And just to dive in a little bit, I mean, where Hannah's just gone back to work, doing the daycare transition, and I've got the blessing and the curse of flexibility in my schedule, to be the one who sort of fills in the gaps with the parenting stuff at the moment. So ask me any other time, and it would look a bit different. But recently, it's been a lot about, um, just being the available parent, doing the really cool stuff, setting the girls up for these transitions and phases of life, while supporting the clients I have who are fantastic. So, um, so much of the work at the moment is around how can I be impactful to both as a parent and as a business owner. Um, I suppose a bit of background in that sense. I'm from a small business family, so it's always been super important to me, and just knowing the difference it does make at home. If business is great, life's
Mm.
generally on a
Yeah.
good even footing. In the tougher times, that tends to colour every interaction. So, um, just one of the most beautiful things you can do, and I'm sure you appreciate. We talk about all the time making impact in small business, because every small business is family business. Um,
Mm.
there's no separating that. So any impact you can make there goes a long way. And so much of our time is spent at work and around work and identity for both business owners and employees.
Yeah.
You end up spending a lot more time with colleagues often than you do
Yeah.
with loved ones and family. So it's pretty important you get that right. So that's a lot of what powers me in that space.
Mm.
Interesting you said before about the label of business coach. It's always one I toy around with.
Yeah. I think we both do, don't we? We go a bit, is that really us or not so sure?
I always love it that you're pushing me to find the right term. Um, Something I think about in this space. You always want to be 20% too wanky with it, I think,
Yeah, that's right.
which is always like a nice call to adventure with that stuff. You sort of got the name you'd put out there if you're feeling the big and bold version of yourself. So for me at the moment, I'm toying with value smith.
Ooh, love it.
So a lot of what powers me, uh, furiously curious,
Mm-hmm.
particularly around why do people do what they do?
Yeah.
How do you show up as the best version of yourself? And yeah, that's sort of the best term I can come to, and around recognizing, owning, and then expressing the value you create in the world. And then of course the business stuff as well. So that's sort of where that's playing at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose a bit more in the background. Yeah, grew up in Buninyong, just outside Ballarat. Mum and dad always had, I suppose, very small businesses, sort of own jobs,
Yeah.
in that sense, and that was normality for me, which is a really cool thing in hindsight. You don't realize it at the time, but having mum and dad around all the time, to the point where every pick up and drop off, every sporting event, they were always coaches, coordinators, whatever. I laugh about it now, but I remember actually lamenting to myself at the time that I never got to go to after school program because it seemed like such a fun thing to do, as like another hour and a half of playing sports with mates. Oh, piss off, would you?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Love
um,
that.
reflecting now on the impact that's had on me, it's and what mum and dad did to be able to do that, amazing. Sometimes it takes you so long to realize, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess, and I think that's the thing that strikes me about particularly the fellas that we work with, and not being a parent myself, it's this, so there's a few things that you've touched on there that I'd love to dig around on. There's the identity piece, there's the I want so much to have that level of involvement with my kids, and where do I fit within the business context versus the family context. And even I think, before we came online, the word that popped into my mind that I've heard my girlfriends say is who's the default parent. And you've got a unique, I guess, dynamic with Han that I don't even know that you'd necessarily class either of you as the default parent. It's something that
Both.
you've worked pretty hard at. And so I guess when you think about the gift that was, having your parents around, I mean, this is what the tradies tussle with, and I'm sure you have at times as well. There's a protect and provide kind of thing that's the primal element of men. And that, however, it's like what version of that stacks up in any given family, because tradies, in my experience, have been very much, well, my job's to go out and earn the money and do the providing that way, and that is at times at the cost of the time with the family. So, what have been some of the reflections you've had on that? Quick pause. If you're listening to this thinking, shit, that's us, and you're still not doing anything, why? Another year of long hours, cash stress, and not being on the same page? Thinking about change is not change, mate. Decisions are. A what to fix first call is where we identify one thing choking your profits, your time, and your marriage, and we fix that first. If you're invoicing 10K a week as a tradie business and you want 5 p.m. knockoffs together and another 100K in your pocket, book it. The link's in the show notes. Otherwise, stop faffing about, listening to this stuff and doing nothing. Back to the episode.
Yeah, great question. It's always both, right? Like,
Mm,
you'll probably get sick of me saying that one. I think that's you do have to provide, right? That's absolutely a reality of it. You combine that pressure though, like millennial dads,
mm,
statistically, I think it's like spend about 1 hour less in primary care with their kids than boomer mums did. Millennial mums spend, like, I think it's 4 to 6 hours more per week. So kids are getting more parented in objectively tougher economic times.
mm.
So there's a higher expectation on parenting. There's a higher demand on single earning. I think the classic example of this is like you go back to early 90s and The Simpsons, and the idea that Homer's a buffoon working a single job Marge doesn't work. They've got a four bedroom house,
Yeah.
in the middle of town. That reality is not true for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even seem attainable. So
Yeah.
those pressures and demands, I think, are as big as ever. And when these things come online, it becomes the norm. It becomes unignorable at some point. I love the term you brought up before, mirror. It's the people you
Mm.
spend time with in that reflect back. Your well, they reflect back to you, and you can't help but compare. We are comparison driven creatures, so
Mm. Yeah.
um, all right. So all that said, you got to work more, you got to parent better. So I think both are super important. And then I'll chuck into the mix as well. I constantly dance between the idea that I want to be there and available with the kids. Equally, I want to model hard work,
Yeah.
prioritizing yourself as a unit so you can be full self.
Mm.
The old
Mm.
classic, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
A lot of times, those things are going to come in conflict. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, fortunately, I know um, my brain always wants to reduce it down to a simple A or B is the right answer,
Yeah.
and I know it'll do that by default. But it's the grey scale C D
Mm.
G, what's right for now. Um,
Yeah.
so to not answer your question at all,
Which is pretty standard for you.
it is. I've just opened
I
up
love
10
it.
more questions.
Yeah.
So
Good.
um, I think if you're putting a button on it though, it's about remembering you got a choice.
Yeah.
And then it's also about giving yourself permission and kindness to say, you know what, maybe I got that wrong, and that's not locked in stone forever. I think like all the data suggests that majority of kids modeling like behaviorally what you find normal, all that stuff is largely said and done by eight. So there is certainly pressure on that stuff for what you do and what you set as the norm then. Um, but you just can't know what's right, can you? So,
No.
I mean, no different to owning a business. You have ideas about how it's going to be. You can plan all you want, but then the reality of the thing sets in, and you've got to be in the game. So,
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, to branch a little bit there, the biggest skill and key to that is just giving yourself permission to make the decision that you can at the time. And you get into trouble if you snowball and start beating yourself up about the wrong ones. But just remembering, I mean, I don't know how many times I say it a week, but this too shall pass as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phases. This is where we're at the moment. Cool. It'll be different in a week. It feels permanent. It feels pervasive, but it'll probably be different in a week.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess it's one of the things that's a bit of a challenge in that at times for the business owner dad is like taking enough time to even get into that reflective state, like to get off that
Yeah.
the run like mentality of this is what I'm in and just keeping on, I suppose. Um, because I guess that there's a fair bit of awareness that's got to come to even get to the point that you're talking about there, where I think that's one question I've got for you. Because, even the way you and I were having conversations about business and all of that type of thing to when you guys got pregnant and we were talking like in that phase and then that transition to, you know, when, you now you're a dad, it's here. Um, what I saw through that, and I think the thing for fellas is there's this awareness of I know that, yeah, these are the formative years, or this is the time that's going to make the most impact, and I want to be present. And kudos to fellas. Like I think that things are increasingly challenging, and I do have a fair few old school mindsets around, the dynamics in relationships and stuff, but like that stat you said before, I wasn't aware of that you guys are like you're definitely stepping up to the plate, but hearing it in that way, it's like wow, like kids really are being parented. And And so I guess I'm glad you brought that up because I think there's too much criticism at times towards the boys, like the tradies in our context, around what they're not doing versus what they are. And so I guess what's the question I've got in there, or like what, yes, there's got to be that awareness, but that there's that push and pull, I guess, on this too shall pass, and I'm doing really well at it this time, but at other times I'm not going to be so great with it. So, like, what's been your personal observation of you in that?
Yeah, love how you sprawled. I'm I'm
Mm,
rubbing off on you.
mm,
So like we can't help but compare, right? Like I think that's the
yeah.
the hardest thing to start with because you see this, and we've all got the outward stuff that is visible, but I mean I'm not in everyone's head, but I'm pretty confident that everyone's got that little voice of doubt and going, "Am I doing enough? Is this right? Is it whatever?"
Mm,
You can't help but compare, and the reality of it is that, like I was saying, dads spend more time with kids than they ever did. It's pretty hard knowing if you're doing a good job. So,
yeah.
I mean, you work trades is a great example of it, right? I don't know, plumbing. There's a leak and now there's not a leak.
Yeah.
Kids though, like, what am I setting? What trajectory am I setting up here? So, it's it's bloody hard to know if you're doing a good job. Um, but I mean, that said, you can't treat it as life or death in that sense because you're going to die a lot of times if you do that. So,
Yeah.
the best skill I've developed in that, I would say, is being able to go, you know what, I was wrong. That wasn't wrong. Here's what I think now. And sometimes that's a multi-level correction. And like, I think it's the best thing you can tell
Yeah.
your kids. Um, when I corrected myself, then I was actually wrong about that, and now I've changed my mind this way. So I always like that idea, sort of
Mm,
strongly formed ideas, lightly held.
yes.
Because in the end, like any of these things, again, we want to boil them down to like, this is the way I'm doing it forever. This is the right way to do it. One of the biggest running jokes with one of my best mates is like the different devices or methods or techniques you use with parenting. And it will be like, I've clocked it. It's that. I've bought the white noise machine and it's got this frequency of bloody, ocean waves. And I've clocked parenting and now everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Um, you got to laugh at that stuff because you want to believe it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
um,
I mean that's a great analogy for business too. Not that children want to
totally.
be managed like businesses, but I think you what you said there, I say the same type of thing to the trades business owners. Like hold on to the outcome that you want tightly, but how you get there a bit more loosely or lightly because you will drive yourself a little bit mad. That applies to parenting, relationships, business. This is what the ideal would be, but geez, there could be a lot of interesting ways in achieving it. So yeah, it is. It's that not beating yourself up, but learning from the things that maybe didn't land.
Yeah, and it's like a million skill sets you need that um,
Mm.
you can't get until you're there. Like I think the parallel to business creation in particular
Yeah.
is one of the best
Mm.
to parenting in because like the amount you bleed into the thing, blood, sweat, and tears, it's pretty similar.
Hmm.
Your business does wake you up overnight sometimes. I was going to say it doesn't do that, but bloody oath
Yeah,
it
it does. Yeah.
it's like anything that you put huge effort and identity and pursuit into to invest. It's something we choose to make important. I think kids is a little bit different because biologically we are wired to know that this is an important thing to get right or wrong. Business
Hmm.
can be a little bit lighter, but there are massive parallels in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, which leads me to like I think you just have to be directional about it, even
Mm.
though
Yeah.
we always want to go yes or no, right or wrong, black or white, one or zero. Um, I mean, like the best advice I got that I think about all the time was it like in a conversation I had with a bloke who'd had three or four businesses. He probably had I think two kids at the time, similar age to what I am now, and he just had his first one that he felt was like successful, was going really well, had stepped away under management. He was like a big cheerer for me, and he said basically the one he's like, you're going to have times where you think you've beaten the world, and then it'll sit you on the ass the next day. He's like something someone said to me, it's never as good or as bad as you think.
Mm,
If you declare success, you're cooked. If you declare failure, you're cooked. It's like you've got to be in the game and stay in the game. And I think parenting is absolutely similar in that sense. The visual for me is the classic of like George Bush on the HMAS Victory or whatever it was. And it's like declaring victory. Anytime you put the flag in the ground and say, we've won the war in the Middle
yeah.
East,
Hmm.
the universe has got a way of coming and biting you on the ass and upending that, doesn't it? So,
Oh, and it was something that I happened to go and watch over some video content around the time that I stepped away from Ladies with Tradies, or in the lead up to stepping away from Ladies with Tradies. And um, it was interesting. I actually expressed it was because I was stepping away and it was going to be managed and I'd just be shareholding at that point. And in the video, I literally say, I feel like my 18-year-old's heading off to Melbourne to uni.
yep.
And now somebody else is going to be holding on to my baby kind of thing. And it's the closest thing that I can, apart from having animals, which is much easier. But you've got this vision for the thing, and thinking about your mate with his multiple businesses and that success, and or sticking the flag in the ground. It's never what you anticipate it's going to be at that time. And I don't know whether some of it's because, and how this relates to parenting, but whether some of it's because, I mean, innately I don't think business is ever over and parenting is never over, because there's always something to be done. And I think and I see it in my own parents, Jace's parents, my sister's kids, and brothers-in-law's kids and their families. And you go, like, this is an ongoing process. I mean, we're in our 40s now, and well, I am, and you go, but there's still these little things that my parents are doing. And we've talked about each other, like our parents' parenting often over the years. That's huge because you said the weighting is different. This is a human being, whereas a business is very much a humans doing kind of a thing. It has a life of its own that is part of your identity usually, but this is a little person that's made up of your own DNA, and it's never going to be finished until you're gone.
Yeah,
Like,
until we're in the ground, that's it. And even then, like I think rippling, I'm a huge fan of the idea. It's like
yeah.
we do things and out it goes into the universe and keeps going on. It's only when your ideas are dead. I mean, exact parallel between business and parenting there, I think. Like,
Mm,
you've got a highly impactful community that if you carked it tomorrow, people would still be chatting about it, even if it didn't exist.
mm,
People remember those conversations. People remember those impacts you had on their life. And always, I mean, we talk about this to death. How can people change fundamentally? And I think in both of these senses, yes, absolutely. You have interactions with people and businesses and, people who shape you. And they can reset a trajectory. They can open up a whole new world of possibility, a door that's been there forever. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I think like absolute parallels. I mean, parenting, I do weight as, yeah, well, definitely more important
Yeah.
because it can
Definitely.
be life and death.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like it's the closest thing I can think of is business and parenting from my experience and remembering those conversations you were talking about, like the kid going off to school. I think it's yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be ready for that when it happens with my kids going off to school, but yeah, I can't imagine that equally either with my business. Just to fully relinquish control, um, involvement. It's a beautiful idea. Can you be emotionally ready for it? Don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think
Maybe.
that's a good point.
I'll find
Yeah.
out when we get there.
Yeah. And I reckon well, so that emotional readiness is a really good, I think, thing in the context of this conversation, because that certainly is something that you often hear people say, and I've heard myself ask, and I probably might have asked you when before Matilda was born. It's like, so do you feel ready? And it's like, don't ask Jake Harris a question like that for a start, but it's they don't have plans like children, even the way they come into the world, there isn't a nice little prescriptive, it's all going to go exactly like this, and there isn't a budget that you stick to. There isn't, there's all of these unknowns. You don't know, what are they going to be more like Hannah? Are they going to be more like Jake? Are they going to be a combo of you both? And the emotional impact of that, I guess,
Can I grab that?
yeah, go
That's
for it.
so I'm gonna sprawl on that because that's a really interesting idea. Um, Absolute parallels, and this applies to all of life. There are things that you can be ready to get into unreadiness.
Yeah.
The next stage of business, the next stage of life. I joke about it with, like, I have friends who are about to have kids for the first time. Do you swear on this pod?
Yeah, man, go
Yeah,
for it.
cool. Okay. And like the running joke is like, you ready to get your shit fucked up?
Yeah.
Like that's the best question you could be asking about an expecting parent. Because like you can't like, and the best thing that's changed in me, and I think you were hinting at this before the question, is my mode of control until I had kids. It's never just like one moment, but I'll do it for this. Until I had kids was prep, think about it, explore, go down, understand everything about it, then act. Even in business, you can do that, and you can go up into the mountains and exclude yourself. And, when you're in complete control of your time, those days, uh, um, you can do that. You can't parent from the sidelines. So it's taught me that. And I mean, agency is a word I talk about a lot.
Yeah, you do.
By that, I mean, do you feel like you've got an ability to change and create and impact outcomes as it relates to this thing we're talking about? I believe agency comes from self belief and focus and where you are looking to measure yourself. So, to really
Mm.
sprawl here, I love the Dan Sullivan idea, always measure backwards. Um, if you constantly look to compare and judge yourself on the horizon, you'll never get there. If you look back at your track record of what you've got done,
Yeah.
um, well, gap in the gain is a term he used, but if you
Yeah.
look at that, that's how you build self belief. Building self belief around that stuff. The difference between confidence and courage is courage feels like shit when you're doing it. I used to wait to feel confident to act.
Yeah. Yep.
You got to do a lot of bloody reading, thinking, prepping, planning to feel confident to start acting. The thing it's forced me to learn, though, is that um, I can adapt in situations. I just wouldn't have put myself into some of the situations that parenting thrusts you into. And it pushes you to the edges of your being in what you're exposed to and what you have to deal with. So, I mean, that said, contradiction in self always. I've always loved being in a crisis.
Mm.
For that same reason, I love playing footy because you can't sit and think about it. It's in flow. Um, you have to be in it, and you can learn about yourself, how you react under those situations. I mean, the biggest parallel in business is probably customer service.
Yeah. Mm.
You're
Mm.
going to get stuck in situations where it gets unwieldy pretty quick. Um, Bring that all back. In parenting, you're going to do things that surprise you that you weren't certain and you weren't confident you could do well. It goes the other way as well.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
But yeah, like you're going to get, I guess, reflected back to you, like, though, a lot of moments. It forces quick growth, right? And it's very easy to stack belief about yourself in what you're capable of doing in the moment,
Mm.
to start trusting yourself more. And I don't know what comes first, but because you
Mm.
have to, whether or not the
Yeah.
parenting starts it or the self trust starts it, chicken and egg. Um,
Yeah. And
you got to
it's
be in it, right?
interesting.
So yeah,
Yeah. And so I remember us talking when Matilda was a really little baby, and having had the privilege of kind of knowing you pre-dad phase. And I remember, like, because I would often be asking you questions around like, how much do you need to know before you just do the fucking thing, Jake? Right? You'd
heaps,
remember this,
heaps.
and then you'd be on the alternative at me. It's like, how do you just throw a fucking grenade without knowing enough? So that's the contrast, or has been traditionally, between you and I. And I think we've kind of
It's
crossed.
great fun, just yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We've gone across and back each other's kind of lanes, for want of a better description. And it's, to what you just said there, like, is it the parenting or is it the confidence thing? It's so, what I find fascinating about the blokes parenting today is the ones who have made it a really high level priority, and I've got a few of yous in my mind. It's fascinating to watch in the early phases, like first 6 months. It's the very intellectualized version of, this is what I've read. I listened to this podcast. I'm going to impose this on the parents-in-law, and I'm going to protect my wife in this way. And like, I remember all these things from you, from like all these different
Oh, it's classic.
people
It's
I love. So there's this is what I know of what it's meant to be like. And then as you see you like, everybody kind of go, rightio, I'm in it. So what you talked about there is, I'm in it, and the intellectualizing just doesn't fucking work. And then I've seen this switch in multiple of my male friends go, ah, here I am. And it's like the most beautiful, I've got to say, thing to observe. Like my brothers-in-law, all of them, particularly yourself, it's like, there he is. Like, this is actually his authentic self that I don't think we even saw before he was a dad. Like,
yeah,
we saw
totally.
elements of it, but now it's all freaking stripped back, and there they are. This is a person I knew was in there, and this is because I'm a bit weird that way, but it's like, ha, like, it just does something to you, is that is just beautiful. Like, I just love watching it. Quick one before we get back into it. If you're running a tradie business together and it's starting to feel a bit tense, like you're both working real hard but not really on the same page anymore, money convos are a bit clunky, or you're avoiding them altogether, and you feel more like business partners than a couple, you need to come to the money junket, because you're going to get clear on your numbers and where you're actually going, and even better, reconnect. Because when you're aligned, it all gets easier, guys. Spots are limited, so if this is hitting, don't sit on it. Jump in the show notes and grab your spot. Let's get you guys back on the same page.
I'll go further. I don't think it's just parenting. I think it's inherently when you do anything that's really bloody hard. It's like any pursuit of
Yeah.
mastery. I think the reason that parenting does it so well is because I don't know.
You don't have a
It's
choice. You're
well,
forced.
and you don't, right? And like also you're genetically compelled. You made this thing, right? It is an embodiment of you. You don't want to fuck that up. Like I know for me, the right partner didn't line up at times earlier, but I wasn't always certain I wanted to have kids, and it was
Mm,
more out of like, am I worthy of this? Can I do this well enough? And it was like, I don't take this lightly.
yeah.
You can't know.
No.
It's like any big, hard, crazy, wacky, interesting thing. You can have ideas about it, but only doing the thing is doing the thing. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what sort of, I don't know, comes to mind is like you sharpen a knife by knocking the dull parts off it. kind of like what you got to be like in parenting. There's like I struggle so I don't know where I'm going here, but I struggle so hard forever to walk past a bench top full of dirty dishes,
Mm.
right? If I was going to hold myself to that standard now, oh my God, Magna Tiles, friggin' Duplo. All right, cool. What's my expectation? What's my standard here? Um, and to come back to something you said before, I mean, I've always had that mode of reflection. I know way more than most people alive.
Hmm.
So I've got that gear, but I think it is such a valuable tool as well because, like you're saying, you don't want to parent with hand grenades. Is a good way to put that, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
want to just be in chaos all the time because
Yeah.
you wake up, I'm 55 and the kids are leaving now, and you're like, oh, I've just been in been in the mishmash of like Tassie Devils ripped into town and
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so I think the reflection part's really important. Sorry, coming back, point being, you just got to look at like what am I expecting? What stories am I telling myself about what makes a good life?
Mm.
Parenting is it? Kids are a hand grenade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that likeness. So they do blow up your life, and you got to work out what you want to put back together. Yeah, like I was saying, if I had those cleanliness standards, I would not get time to sleep.
Yeah.
There
And
are
yeah,
things you have to relax for a period, and it's like I feel lucky that I do have that perspective because I
yeah.
can.
Yeah.
I talk about this in coaching all the time, but like you go through life, and there are things that it's like hiking. There are things you put in your backpack, beliefs, ideas, rules that you make for yourself, and they're like rocks. One of the beautiful things about coaching when you do it well, it's like you pick out a rock out of someone's bag, you hold it in your hand, and you go, "Do you want to put this rock? Do you want to keep it in your bag or not? Like, is
Yeah.
this useful for the journey? Maybe some things are diamonds, maybe some things are petrified turds. Do you want to put this piece of
Yeah.
shit back in your?" And for me, like the really high cleanliness, not even cleanliness, like tidiness standards,
Yeah.
does that enrich my life at the moment?
Yeah.
Not really. Like the filter now is like, what's Sophia likely to try and choke on next? I'll
Yeah.
pull that out. But you know what? Magnetile's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crunching around, like, yeah. You get the odd
Yeah.
random swear when you go for a piss at night time and you step on one, but outside of that, it's not too bad.
Yeah. That's it. Oh, love it. Love it. So what do you reckon, like if you, because obviously you're hanging out with a lot of other dads who are in careers, businesses, all that type of stuff. What do you reckon would be a theme that you've picked up that kind of labors on blokes in this period of life the most?
Yeah. Am I doing the right thing?
Mm. And how does that show up? Like, how does that come out in through conversation? Like, how would I know that because you aren't not all blokes are going to actually say that overtly. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, do you ever just lay there at night wondering if you're fucking your kids up or if you're doing the right thing? Like, that's not how this comes to being this sort of a chat as a
So
rule.
it's one of the biggest things that shits me about blokes and I've struggled with forever. But all the good stuff you need to talk about like this only comes out after 25 beers and it's 2
Mm.
a.m. and
Yeah,
it's just sitting there in
yeah.
silence and it's the last two people sitting at the table. Um, so we just need to have those conversations a lot easier.
Mm.
I think probably the biggest barrier to that is, well, I'll give you two. Mental health's on the radar for blokes now,
Mm.
which ironically I think actually is like one more barrier you have, or one more KPI you got to hit. It's
Mm.
like
Interesting.
obviously you do, but now you're sort of being judged on. It's like, can you have good mental health? You got to have the conversation. So, for someone who is judging themselves a lot,
Hmm.
that can be hard at times. Like, am I doing the right thing by my mental health?
Mm.
Um,
Interesting.
but vulnerability, right? So,
Yeah.
the saying to go out on a limb, if you think about that really visually, it suggests that the limb on a branch might not be
Mm.
stable.
Good
Someone's
break.
got to
That's
go out
right.
first, right? So what I do about that, it's always being willing to be the one to go first on stuff. And again, I'm going to apply that to
Yeah.
parenting and business and all these things. The amount of difference it makes for your life if you can develop the skill to say, "Hey, would you like to go the next step?" Making tiny little invites to say, "Come out here with me." I mean, that's pretty much what I define leadership as broadly, whether I'm talking business or within a community or a family.
Yeah.
Back to parenting, though, it is calling out some of your own shit and what you're grappling with and what you're struggling with. Blokes love a break fix and love, I mean, that's a classic male response is there's a
Mm.
problem. I need to build something to fix it. I need to engineer something to fix it. It it's acknowledging that and understanding that that's the default, but it's probably not the right thing to do all the time. There are like most times fixing a problem is great. Something that's more directional and ongoing, and like you said, can't be fixed or finished or perfect though.
Mm.
Treating it as a problem and a break fix, as opposed to like this is something hard to navigate, or maybe a better parallel is like I might be a bit lost with this.
Yeah, and even when you were speaking then, Jake, I'm like, well, I know we've talked before about it being, it's not a problem to solve.
Yeah, and that's hard. Like I
Yeah,
struggle with that so much. I just
yeah,
want to solve
yeah,
problems. My brain loves that shit.
yeah, it
It will
does.
hit,
Yeah.
like
And like our tradies, they're like, and that's what you mean by the fix thing. Like they're designed to fix or solve problems, whether it's a plumbing leak or the whatever. And so the vulnerability piece I think is interesting because I mean, we do it pretty damn well in here. Like the boys don't get much of a choice but to have us kind of poke around in the parts of them that they're not
yeah,
real comfortable on. And when it comes to that, a lot of wives are dragging them in to meet us because of all of those things we've just talked about. It's like he's missing, we feel like he's missing out on the time with his kids and he's working so hard for not enough money and he's never got any time and time for himself. And like you said, I think that's a really fascinating thing that I'm going to marinate on for some time, I'd say, around there being another KPI, like another problem to solve when it comes to mental health. Or I think we've got to be mindful about that.
yeah.
Um,
So I'll chuck in something on that I
mhm.
am obsessed talking about. I've probably rattled on about this about 3 times to you already, but let's introduce it because we're talking to more people
Let's.
here. Entropy. So like
Mm, yeah.
entropy is put really simply the basic state of the universe that shit falls apart. It takes more energy for things to stay together. To give a trade like metaphor, because I'm sitting in a house built in 1921 with weatherboards,
Hmm.
um, shit falls apart all the time. The natural state of things is for shit to fall apart.
Mm,
Super important to remember because most things need to be maintained to stay where they are. You
mm,
can't be done with maintenance, right? And that's the mistake we make in our minds all the time is like, oh, great, I'll just bloody replace this weatherboard and then I'm job done, put the flag in the ground, I've done it, like I've arrived. Um,
yeah.
but, you know, relationships is the classic for this, right?
Mm,
I think it's a mistake you see in so many people that it's like, cool, put the ring on the finger. We're married, we're done, that's set. I don't have to, like that's something I have forever now. The reality of it is, goddamn, like while you grow and again, chucking the hand grenade kids in, like
hmm.
I was going to say daily, but like it's almost an hourly
Hmm.
renegotiation of like, what is our social contract? What's our social dynamic here?
Yeah.
How do we agree to tackle this? I was going to say problem.
Mm.
This shared
It's
adventure
just
together
natural.
is
Yeah.
probably a better
Yeah.
likeness. So,
But it's even like the word tackle, eh? Like,
yeah, I
because
mean, it's aggressive
it's,
language, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, and
It's a
I
beast
get
to be
really
slain.
like
Yeah.
I get coming out of nursing palliative care, I often get triggered anytime somebody says someone's on a cancer journey or they're on their what I'm like, oh, I forgot, like, hang on, like, or their battle, sorry, is the word.
Yep.
Journey's not
Battling
as bad. It's,
cancer.
yeah,
Yeah.
battling cancer. It's like, yeah, I get it because you do want to have an aggressive approach to that as a process, but it's like they lost their fight with.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if we see everything as that fight or that battle or that, then of course the mentality of that alone, bringing that into parenting. And I said hand grenade. I started with hand grenade, right? So isn't it so interesting that but then at the same time, you go to that example you gave around the weatherboards, and if everything is designed to fall apart, including us as the human beings, like we are all just disintegrating like over time. Yes, you can do some maintenance to make it a bit smoother and easier and all of the things for yourself, but I guess that it feels almost the opposite in the parenting realm because the child is growing and becoming. And so, yes, everybody gets to a point where yes, they do start dying again, but and you know, they're not going to keep the cells don't proliferate the way they do and all that type of thing. I think that's where there's such a contrast with kids because it's a growth process, and yes, we can all be growing as humans. We know that at any point in time in life, like mentally, but they are in fact growing physically and bettering physically and becoming, I suppose,
Yeah.
which kind of goes against that falling apart theory at the same, like, so it's just a conflict, I guess, for us as people and humans. It's like, oh my goodness, there's just too many layers, or there's so many layers, or it can feel like there is too many. But because we're looking at it as a battle, though, because we're looking at it as this is the or the line that you said before, um, everything's like, are you ready to have your shit fucked up? Like it's never going to be the same again.
Yeah. And
But
that's
it's
good.
also the most beautiful thing you'll ever do. So I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I love where you went there. I think again on the battle thing, it's like I was saying about the win or lose piece, right?
Mm.
If you treat this as life or death, win or loss, you're gonna have a lot of blood. You're gonna die a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the word you used, journey, before is probably the better one.
Yeah.
It's directional.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's like true north, that phrasing. But like appreciating fully that human wiring, we want to make things as simple as yes or no, win or loss, because I can speak for this incredibly firsthand. It is mentally taxing to explore all the bloody options out there, and that it is complex and it is uncertain. Um, yeah, just a handful. It's a
Mm.
handful. I mean, the piece about the growth though, um, I think it's fascinating because as long as even if your cells are dying, you can still be mentally growing. I guess is
Yeah,
the best way
that's
I could
right.
think about
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah.
And that's what I was getting at with the rippling thing before. We're going straight into the death piece here, but there's a great psychologist I love called Irvin Yalom. Did you put me onto him? Hmm. Anyway, he's got a couple of great books, and basically his whole premise is around accepting that we are all in a state of dying, and like that is shunned and taboo in our society, and no one talks about it, but it's like probably the one thing we've got in common. Um, and
Hmm.
how you deal with that stuff and the different ways that that shows up. And I love talking about it because it's
Yeah, me
you
too.
know you know.
Yeah.
um, Point being there though, the rippling thing is one of the most fascinating to me. It's that your actions are what well yeah spin out into the universe as energy and waves and change thoughts and ideas. So all you have to do is do stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
and do stuff in accordance with it. So, and that's where I remind myself a lot of that. It's like the default I always used to go to is like I need to think my way through this,
Yes.
which is now
Yep.
a trigger phrase for me. And I love
Which I
shoving
love.
this back
And
in
that
someone's big dumb
this is the
face. It's
beauty. Like that right there is the
yeah,
thing that I've had the
that's what it's
privilege
given me, right?
of watching. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I can have thoughts about it, but I've got to act my way through it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, do cool shit and be kind to yourself, you know? Um, or you can only make the decision you made at the time.
Yeah.
do the
Yeah.
best you can, get into it. You know, all credit to the man in the arena. That shivers me up every
100%.
time I get
Yeah.
stuck into that one. It's like being in there doing the stuff, having a crack at it. And again, back to the point before, I think it's anything that's akin to a pursuit of mastery, um, and you're sort of forced to try and pursue mastery in parenting, I think,
Yes,
genetically.
that's right.
Because, like, if you just boil it down to a cellular level, a kid is a parent's way of making a kid, isn't it? So, like, that's the whole purpose of us is chicken and egging the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense why our wiring puts up the scoreboard to say good parenting is the best thing you can do. It's sort of the ultimate thing to score yourself on. And, it all comes back to um, money, power, fame, any of these things. Um, or you boil it down to like, why would you want those? And it's like to get a better chance, to get a better root, to have better genetics, to have a better propagation of your own genes.
Yeah.
We're pretty simple creatures when you when you get down to that level. So
No,
yeah, I mean, what do you do with that? You go, yeah, cool, interesting idea. I need to get stuck into actually doing the thing.
just do the thing. I feel like that's it, like, and probably a good sort of start to wrapping our chat up because we know what you and I are like, but it's the thing that I took from part of the story from you, Jake, is two things. A whole lot of love and acceptance of self, and also a one-liner that just keeps popping up that my mother-in-law says all the time is just be true to yourself. Um,
Mm,
because yeah, back to that intellectualization and that, it is this shedding, I feel like process parenting and I've only had, like I said, the privilege of the observation in it and being like you, an avid observer of what people do and why they do what they do. Those things, like just trusting that this is the outcome I'm hoping for, and I'm doing all I can in order to achieve it, but holding on a bit more lightly, like you said, to that and having that level of acceptance and well, grace, I guess, in
yeah.
how you go about it, and just being true to who you are, because that's where I find I see the most struggle in men, in parenting and business is the tension between shouldn't themselves to death. I should do it this way because that's how business is supposed to be, or that's how parenting is supposed to be. So, which we talked about earlier, that intellectualization of it versus the gut stuff, which is like, but hang on, like I know I should, but that's not lining up for me. And um, I need to try this, play in the bloody sand pit a bit. Yep, it is life and death. But I say this often to women who won't let go of control. I'll say, listen here, lady, he's not out to fucking kill your kid, so stop being ridiculous. Like, let go. It's his baby too. And so the trust is such, like trust of yourself, in all elements, business, parenting. That's the thing I see. I think that's when I see that light go on for years, or what I've seen, and I feel so lucky to see is like, there he is. Like, there he is. Like, he's backing himself in and being true to himself and
Yeah,
giving
it's a
himself
fascinating
grace,
thing, isn't
like
it?
giving
Like
himself grace. Like,
that self trust thing is everything. Um, and like self acceptance. That I love that idea. It's hard to embody
oh, oh,
because it's not accepting the good stuff that's hard, is it? It's accepting what you're capable of and the reality of it, and then it's holding it lightly. And
yeah.
like the biggest part is like giving. Sounds odd to say out loud, but like giving yourself full permission to fuck up something that you are holding as so important and yeah, world making or ending.
Mm.
And it's kind of like that. It's that lightness you need to go through it. Because again, if you treat it as life or death all the time, geez, you're gonna. you're
Yeah.
going to die a lot.
Too hard. Yeah.
Um, like that's a very narrow road you have to walk if you're giving yourself that set of conditions to be a success in big quotation marks.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, doing the stuff in the moment though, isn't it? It's just like
Yeah.
be where you are. That's
I'd say that's probably the greatest, mark the spot, be where you are. That's a great pearl of wisdom. Just be where you are in it.
well. Can
And
I? I
yeah,
want to. I want to jump on that, and it's
yeah,
like a little spiral from. Is this my expectation or is this someone else's expectation?
yeah.
So to be able to answer, what do I expect of me in this situation, and actually to be able to separate that out from the primary people around you,
Mm,
even to take the position of a neutral observer, which is very hard to do. But if you can start to pry that apart and go, what are my expectations of me? If you can answer that, and that'll be ever shifting. And I think
hmm.
that comes back to understanding your own values and
Yeah.
um,
And going through it
yeah, bloody oath.
and putting the diamonds in and ditching the rocks, like,
Yeah, yeah, and like that's it's the most rewarding work in life, but it's definitely the hardest
yeah, yeah,
because a
yeah,
lot of time, like you put that piece of shit in your backpack,
yeah,
and then to like
yeah,
realize you've been lugging that around for 30 or 40 years, or I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure I'll still find some of those when I'm 70 or 80.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh wow, I held on to that pretty
But yeah, I
tightly.
mean, back to what you were saying before, it's then about going, and that's okay. Like I wasn't ready to take that rock out before
Yeah,
then.
that's it.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's fascinating. Like one of the things about parenting, I was always super critical in my mind of like things my parents did or said, or and like sort of just like why weren't you perfect type stuff. And then it's just one of those moments where you reflect and you're like that was more sort of 20 stuff. And then you have kids and you're like, wow, I get it.
Yeah.
um, you were these confused beings doing the best you can at the time and dealing with your own shit while you're
Yeah,
trying to build a thing, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's that was I was annoyed at myself. It took me so long to realize that. And then, you can get annoyed at yourself about being annoyed at yourself about it. And then you realize
yeah.
that's
Which
happening.
again is very, very, very classic, Jake.
But it's all the way back to like I was
But
saying before, when
both of us, yeah,
yeah, like cock up in the moment. And you like
yeah,
that's something I've talked to my parents about since. Like
yeah, yeah,
sorry for being such a dickhead about that stuff and,
yeah,
like demanding more of you than you were probably capable. Like you did an amazing job. I was
yeah.
focusing on inadequacies versus like the 99 things out of the 100 you
It was
guys
good.
nailed
That's
and
right.
embedded in me that I just take for granted.
Yeah,
But yeah, sometimes you need that mirror held up to you
yeah,
through the kids
yeah,
or parenting or situation to really appreciate
yeah,
the
yeah.
nuance of it.
And you just got to meet yourself where you're at. Like it's not that easy to do, but
Well, and like everything important in life, no one actually knows the right thing to do. You have ideas about it, but
yeah,
um,
yeah,
we've all got that weird, sick little voice in our head that, well, or multiples in my case, that
yeah,
bounce around and have the conversation, the panel, and the argument, and the
yep, yep, yep,
yeah, just doing the best we can.
yeah. Love it. Righto, give us a mic drop, Jake, to finish off. Like,
I was
what's
hoping I already did.
you've had many, many, many. Any summary mic drops that you've got, or pearls of wisdom like that you'd just wrap
Yeah,
up in
cool.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
like a little bit of a closing sort of a statement.
So,
Thought.
yeah, like big concepts and some of the stuff you asked me coming into it, I was thinking about. The one that comes up over and over again is that idea of the arrival fallacy,
Mm,
which I hate, but I love because I know about it. It doesn't mean I can avoid it, which is basically that little voice that in our heads, it's like the lies we tell ourselves. And we go, if I just do this, then in 2 weeks, everything will be great forever. If I just get through this little period, I'm busy at the moment. It's that bullshit. And like that's a necessary thing we need to tell ourselves. Um, that is like if you can understand that and spot it in yourself, that just saves you so much goddamn pain. And like it's all like I know about it. I spruik it all the time, and I'm not in any way immune to it. I think you just get faster at catching it, and then you sort of have a little laugh about it. And then kind of the antidote to that is the happiness of pursuit.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
it's not treating things as permanent, done, fixed, finished. We always go like the old classic, this is what you must do with your life. You finish
Hmm.
school, you go to uni, or you start a business, you get married, you have kids, blah, 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 and then you'll be happy.
No,
Um,
no.
that is the lie we're all sold. If you can remember that, and for me, I flip it. So it's not the pursuit of happiness like it says in the bloody
Yeah.
in the classic, it's the happiness of pursuit. So do hard shit that you find interesting and challenge yourself to get better at it. That's where the good shit is.
Love that.
Mm.
And accept that, or have the knowing that the thing that you want to work, like in that pursuit, the things that the result that you're after, um, it's not a finite thing necessarily.
Well, it's not even results, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
It's a
Yeah.
destinationless
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. And it's and just be accepting that you are going to fuck shit up.
yeah, that's it. And like, yeah,
You're not going to always get it right. So,
it's the most important thing you'll ever do, and you're probably going to fuck it up.
yeah.
Cool. Have a laugh about it. Let's get on with it.
Yeah. And
Keep going.
it's interesting. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I am in always in this careful territory, I guess, as not being a parent, but having a lot of close people in my life who are parents. And I've heard myself say often, like, you're gonna fuck it up. Like, give yourself a bit of a break. And then I've stopped because I'm like, oh, but hang on, maybe that's not helpful to them. But I'm I'm feeling like, well, it's good because you like just want people to not feel like um that perfection is the outcome that you're trying to achieve in anything in life because it just
Yeah, I
doesn't.
mean, again, to pick on the language, it's achieve
Mm.
is such an interesting
I
word,
know,
isn't it?
I know, that's right.
Let's bring it back to something every parent loves and knows.
Hmm.
One of the many moments in Bluey that
I
makes
was
me
going to say
cry
this is going to be
regularly.
Bluey.
It's
Yep.
going to be Bluey. The episode Baby Race, which is about basically comparing yourself to other parents. Am I doing a good job? Um, Getting your kids to crawl, walk, roll before anyone else does. The beautiful moment at the end where Coco's mum, who's a mother of seven, sits down with Chili and she's doubting herself and she's like, I've got something you need to hear. I'm going to cry bloody talking about it.
Mm.
And she's like, you're doing a great job. It's not an achievement thing. It's like investing in the kid is the
Yeah.
win, right? You're not going to win. The win is doing the work. It's not the outcome. It's the input. So,
Which is the
um,
pursuit. Be
and
happy with
it's
the
yeah,
pursuit.
again, but like we just want to arrive and achieve and go. You know what? I did it. I was a good parent. Um, I was a great business owner.
We're never really going
How
to
do you
know.
judge that?
Yeah.
Give it all you got and get stuck in.
Love it. Thanks, Jake. Absolutely
What a treat.
beautiful as always. Thank you very much for your time and yeah, lots of mic drops, yes, and profound moments through that convo, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. And so look forward to chatting more offline with you. And I know that heaps of our tradies will have had huge benefit from that conversation. So thanks for being with us, man.
What a treat. Thank you.
Talk soon.
Ta.